Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for joining us for this policy committee meeting. My name is Fatima Mirza, and I'm the policy coordinator for the Medical Commission. This meeting is being recorded. The documents which will be discussed today are available on the policy meetings page on our website, which is wmc.wa.gov. Attendees, if you would like to ask a question or speak, please use the raise your hand function or the chat. When commenting, we request you avoid commenting on ongoing investigations or disciplinary cases. Please make sure your comments pertain to the agenda items. Panelists, please make sure your line is muted if you're not speaking. Christine Blake is the chair for the policy committee meeting. Once the presentation is finished, Ms. Blake will open the floor for a committee and public discussion. With that, I will pull up the meeting packet and start with our first item. All right, so the first item we have for your review is the consent agenda. And so on this consent agenda, we are requesting to remove policy committee review for the review requirement of WMC internal operating procedures. The policy committee is currently responsible for reviewing commission policies, guidelines, interpretive statements, and internal procedures before they are presented to the full commission for adoption. We are revising this process to better align with the policy committee's intended governance role by removing internal procedures from the committee's review responsibilities. Internal procedures are administrative documents that govern or explain the commission's internal processes and do not establish commission policy or provide interpretive guidance. This amendment is intended to promote good governance by clarifying the committee's role and ensuring its review is focused on documents that establish commission policy or provide interpretive guidance. Most procedures will continue to be available for review and reference on the WMC website. And so by approving this consent agenda, you would authorize the removal of the committee's review requirement for the following internal staff procedures, which are included in the packet. I will now hand it off to Ms. Blake for discussion and a vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mirza. I open the floor for any questions anybody has, any comments with regard to these, or a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
So I was considering removing number one. I wasn't aware this was an issue, before, and I just want to have a little discussion.
Dr. Domino?
Yeah.
You sound very far away. Is it possible that maybe your headphones are active and
Okay. I
there you go.
changed them. Yeah, sorry, I changed quickly to headphones. So I wanted to remove number one. I didn't know if this has been established policy. I was unaware of it after many years, and I just wanted to ask a few questions about it. Also, I had the issue about off-ramps, and I didn't know about complainant requests for reconsideration number 2, whether that adequately dealt with off-ramps. Because people may request a reconsideration, but if the reviewing commissioner, who's an expert in the area, off-ramped it, I don't know how that deals with it. So it may be that it was one or two. So
Sure.
Thank you.
So starting with the first one, the question is, what's the question, I guess, on the complainant opportunity to be heard through impact statement?
I was unaware that someone would do this at the time during the agreed order.
Right. So we don't always have those impact statements. This came through, I want to say probably around 2011 or 2012 with a statutory change. And so the way that the statute is written is a bit vague about when the impact statement is meant to be considered. And so I think there's been a couple of different ways that we've approached it. The main thing to know is this is simply a procedure as far as how the commission staff do this. So when they present it, so it's describing that there. This is again one of those ones where we're simply taking away the authorization vote that was given previously. So we won't have to have a formal vote of the commission to update a staff process. That doesn't mean that commissioners would not have input into any sort of a change. We would form a work group and have you work with staff to align where it makes sense to change. But as far as what this particular process is doing, it's just describing, as we read the statute, where we would fit this into the process.
Okay, so it's basically no change.
None.
Thank you.
Mhm. And
And
you had
then
another
how do
one?
we deal with the off ramp by commissioners? There's something, I thought it was under number 2, but so they may request reconsideration, but they're closed. But what if the
Mhm.
first thing is that the case is closed and or maybe it goes on even open and then it gets off ramped by the commissioner? So I didn't know how this impacts that change. Is something that we instituted a while ago.
So that's an excellent example of why we need you to repeal the vote here. We can't update this with the off-ramp process unless we updated it and got a full vote of the commission. But again, that's an internal staff process. It's describing how the staff do their work. But in order to do that, we would have to come back, update this, get a full vote of the commission. Whereas from a good governance standpoint, this is just something that we should be updating and, as far as transparency goes, putting it on our website and letting people review it there. So this particular process is old enough to where the off-ramp process isn't included in it because the off-ramp process is so new.
So it won't impact the off ramp process.
No, I think, ideally you would vote to send this to the full commission to rescind their
Mhm.
vote, and then we would be able to update and add the off-ramp process in there as part of a staff work group process.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't approve this policy? We should change it?
The vote is to rescind everything on this consent agenda and
Okay,
send
great.
that
Thank you.
and send that to the
Yeah.
full commission so they can rescind their vote, which then frees up staff to be able to update these procedures as needed, as opposed to bring a full vote to the commission.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay, I didn't understand because some seem outdated. Thank you.
They are. So,
A lot of, looks like a lot of them are.
Yeah.
mhm.
So, Mike, I think what I heard you say in the introduction is that the AG's office is saying that procedures are the policy. Did I hear you say that right?
By virtue, and Heather, feel free to jump in here. I'm quoting Sierra when I had a conversation with her today. By virtue of the commission voting to adopt a procedure, they have defined it as a policy because of that action. And so there's a couple of concerns with how that happened. As I said, the governance piece, if we were to be doing something different than what these voted on procedures were doing, that creates an organizational risk. And just the slowing up of being able to update our processes and procedures. I'm almost positive none of these take into account the fact that we don't use Eilers anymore. So we're on an entirely new database, which means a new way of staff having to do things by virtue of it's a new database. But these haven't been updated for that. And if we were to do so, that's a big workload to bring through the full commission for something that they're not actually doing themselves.
So I'll make a motion to accept this consent agenda.
Yeah, and I
Second.
second it. Yeah.
All in favor?
Yes.
Looks like no opposed. So we'll move on with the agenda. To
All
the
right.
interpretive statement clarifying eligibility for a license to practice medicine.
Okay, so as a reminder, you saw these newly drafted proposals at the interested parties meeting. I don't believe we got any written comments. I know that we are expecting some probably somewhere in mid-August, according to my conversations with WSMA, and I think we'll probably get some from some national individuals as well. The ask for action here is to send this to the full commission, not for adoption, but for sending it through the secretary review process. That process is something that's described in our joint operating agreement, where the secretary's office runs this draft by all of the other boards and commissions, the various policy shops and DOH, and they provide feedback and recommendation. At that point, it would come back to a policy committee meeting in late October, where you would consider all of the comments together from the secretary review, as well as WSMA and anybody else who provided comment. And at that point, you would decide to whether or not to keep working on it or send it to the full commission for a vote of adoption, but not necessarily effective date of adoption in November 20th, I believe. And I'm seeing a hand up. I think, is that Hillary?
Yes.
Oh, hi, yes. So Hillary Norris, with the Washington State Medical Association. Thank you, Micah. We are, as you saw in our correspondence with Jeb earlier today, still gathering feedback on both of the policies for consideration today around AI. So we're hoping to have that feedback for you, like you said, around mid-August, and we'll be providing more comprehensive feedback based on what our stakeholders say. So thank you.
Thank you, Hillary.
I mean, don't we only want people rather than AI practicing medicine?
I love that
Right.
statement, by the way. Natural people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a reminder, this is a little bit of an answer or response to a bill that passed in the 2026 legislature, adding human person to every reference where a RN or a nurse practitioner exists in the statute. We had our lawyers look at the statute relating to the Uniform Disciplinary Act, the Medical Practice Act, and it was clear, as lined out in this interpretive statement, that legally we can interpret those laws as referring to actual humans as opposed to AIs, any tools or what. So it doesn't matter whether the AI is capable of passing the USMLE. There are other aspects that just assume a human is holding the license. So everything from the ability to fill out the application to, should we identify a problem in the application, can they respond? Can they adhere to the civil rules of procedure? Could they autonomously respond to a adjudicated proceeding? All those sorts of things assume a human.
So it seems good.
Okay.
I love it. We're in for a wild ride.
Yes, we are.
The hacking article earlier today has anything, says anything? Yes, we are. So at this point, it would be, unless there's any other discussion, a vote to send it to the full commission with a recommendation to send through secretary review.
I'll make that
Yeah.
motion. And I also really like the word de-skilling.
Yeah. And I second it.
All in favor? Please raise your hand. Thank you.
Aye.
The next motion approved. Our next agenda item is policy licensee use of AI tools in patient care. Micah, I'm going to turn it over to you.
And the same situation here is we've got a whole cloth draft policy proposal, And so you saw this at the interpretive state and not the interpretive, the interested parties meeting. And this would follow the same schedule as described before, where the recommended or the requested vote is to send this to the full commission for approval to send through the secretary review process, so that you may consider it at an October policy committee meeting and the November business meeting.
That's
Are there
fine
any
with me.
questions or input from anyone, either online or?
No, I thought it was great.
All right, I don't hear any, so thank you, Fatima, for increasing that. Hearing none, I need a motion to then move this on.
So moved.
So moved.
They're all I said, yes.
Second. I guess a lot of seconds and moves. Motion carries.
Yep.
So it looks like that is it for our agenda today.
Yippee!
It is.
We had a quick meeting. Thank you so much for.
You guys did a lot of work.
They did.
Yeah, there's a lot of work
Did
there.
a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Sure.
Matthews, Christine, thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you to
being here so that we
Fatima.
had a quorum. I much
And
appreciate
Fatima
that.
too. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
did want to let the committee know, I got notice about an hour ago that the hiring freeze has been lifted for our policy manager position. So starting next week, my plan is to recruit for that. So I don't have to do like quadruple duty.
Great news.
Good
for
news.
you. Yeah. Thanks, Micah, for pinch hitting
Thanks,
and doing all this. Appreciate it very much.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too.